let's first and foremost get started on the process by diving into Ghislaine Maxwell. Trump is innocent, okay? Vindicated, full vindication. Oh, many of you thought Trump was just being weird for some weird reason. It turns out Ghislaine Maxwell, who is definitely a trustworthy individual, by the way. Yeah, who could have seen this coming, guys? Guys, who could have seen this coming? I can't believe it. I can't believe it. Why don't you believe women, you misogynist? Yep, that's right. That's me. Ghislaine, 2 counts of perjury. Maxwell doing what she loves to do, aside from sex trafficking minors and pedophilic acts, which is perjuring herself. There it is. Nothing to see here, everybody. No one even wants to see the files anymore because it's like totally exonerated. Yeah, I said, Lamau, oh, I guess this was all just a big misunderstanding. Yeah, the person who lied in order to rape kids is definitely telling the truth about the president who likes to rape kids. Yeah, no, that's not. No, don't say that. No, totally exonerated, guys. You don't understand. The rapist, sex trafficker of minors said Trump is innocent, totally, in exchange for lenient sentencing, by the way. Like what are we doing? Of course it was going to go here. I've been saying that it was going to go here from the start, and now we're there. Was she actually exonerated? No, I'm joking, but that's where we're heading towards. Lenient sentencing in exchange for total exoneration of Donald Trump. They shut off all of the avenues. They literally shut off all the avenues of investigation, all of the previous investigations that have been conducted into this matter. And the only thing that we have now is the word of the rapist, pedophile, sex trafficker, Ghislaine Maxwell. And how did we get this information? Oh, that's right. Donald Trump's lawyer, who now happens to be the deputy attorney general, went and had a private meeting with Ghislaine Maxwell. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are you kidding me? This is insanity. It's total, utter madness. What the hell?
Latest on the Jeffrey Epstein case. We are learning more about Epstein associate Ghislaine.
Yeah, not to mention the FBI literally said they redacted his name in thousands of instances in the documents. Okay, the FBI literally was like, dude, we ran out of Sharpie. Okay, we ran out of Sharpie when we were redacting Donald Trump's name. I wonder how we got here. How did this happen? Maybe, I mean, going after a woman and a Jew, I expect no less from you, Hasan. Yeah. Yeah, that's me. I'm being a misogynistic anti-Semite.
Maxwell's interview with a top Justice Department official. His name, Todd.
Not how redaction works now, fam. Dog, I'm joking, okay? I don't think they're literally using a Sharpie.
Blanche, the president's former attorney. Meanwhile, House Republicans have subpoenaed former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton as part of their investigation. Ed O'Keefe is covering it all at the White House. Ed, good morning.
Vlad, good to see you. It's the case the White House just can't quite shake. And now we're hearing new details about that 2-day meeting between Ghislaine Maxwell, who was serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking, and the Justice Department's second highest official. CBS News has learned Ghislaine Maxwell said nothing during her 9-hour meeting with Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche in July.
Yeah. Todd Blanche. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, also known as Trump's literal lawyer, Todd Blanche. Okay? It's so funny that for years, Donald Trump and the Republicans kept talking about how the DOJ is so not impartial. The Department of Justice is totally working at the behest of Biden, totally working at the behest of the Democrats. Oh, such unfair prosecutions taking place. And then literally came in and was like, I'm making my lawyers, my own personal lawyers, my attorney general and deputy attorney general, and they're going to do whatever the they want. We are going after anyone and everyone that I do not like, and we're doing it openly. I can't believe your lack of charitability towards this new administration. Yeah, you know what, actually? The situation is so... This chatter is obviously being sarcastic, but the situation is so this is not even an actual line of defense. At least in Trump 1, people will be like, oh, you hate Trump? Why? Because you want the country to fail? They're not even doing that anymore. This is so unimaginably indefensible and so transparent corruption that, like, it's so transparently corrupt that even, like, the biggest dick riders of the admin can't even come up with, like, a reasonable way to dance around this issue, okay? I'm sure they'll get their talking points eventually. They'll get their ducks in a row, and they'll start blasting it over and over again. But for the time being, there's just not anything that you can do. There is nothing defensible about this, okay? This is complete indefensible behavior.
That would be harmful to President Trump. According to a source familiar with the exchange, she told the number 2 at the Justice Department that Trump, once a friend of the late child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, did nothing in her presence that would implicate him. That revelation comes as sources say top administration officials are discussing...
Guys, you don't understand. You don't understand. Totally innocent. Total exoneration. Total exoneration. I love that they're posting this. I love that their statement comes along with this photo, though, you know, which kind of makes the situation a little ridiculous, huh? Here is Donald Trump in 750 different photos with Ghislaine Maxwell. As Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony indicates, all of the times that Trump was around Ghislaine Maxwell, which was so numerous, so vast, he didn't do anything criminal ever. Nothing illegal whatsoever. Actually, Ghislaine Maxwell also apparently, Ghislaine Maxwell needs to throw more ridiculous shit in there. You know what? Just go all the way. Just be like, Trump actually was literally actively fighting pedophilia in my presence. You know, he was saving orphans from a burning building. You're already doing it. You're already saying whatever the admin wants you to say. So you get lenient sentencing in exchange for playing ball. Might as well just make it up even further. Yeah, say you saw Obama at the pedo parties. Obama was there. You literally predicted this exact thing for the past 2 weeks nonstop. Yeah, I mean, it was getting there, and I told you we were getting there. And some of you didn't want to believe it. Some of you thought it was too far-fetched that Donald Trump would actually give a pardon to Ghislaine Maxwell in exchange for her lying about him. The only thing that we can hope here, the only thing we can hope for here is the consistent incompetence of this administration. Okay? You've been with me along the way. You've been with me so far. You trust me so far. So trust me when I say this. I speculate that because this administration is so incompetent, they will try to do this patch-up job, and they will f up in the process. I hope. I wish. And I can totally see that happening. I'm not exactly sure how. I haven't been able to identify what the ways in which they will f up, but I suspect that they will.
Implicate him. That revelation comes as sources say top administration officials are discussing whether to make public some of the transcript or recording of what Maxwell, a convicted co-conspirator of Epstein, told Blanche. On Tuesday, the president said he hasn't discussed the interview with Blanche, his former personal attorney.
I didn't discuss it with him, but anything he talked about with her or the fact that he did that, not unusual, number one, and most importantly is something that would be totally above board.
Trump also said he knew nothing about Maxwell's recent transfer from a Florida federal prison to a minimum security facility in Texas.
I didn't know about it at all, no. I read about it just like you did. It's not a very uncommon thing.
On Capitol Hill, the House Oversight Committee continues its probe with subpoenas seeking depositions from former President Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton. In 2019, his office said that while Clinton knew nothing about the terrible crimes Epstein committed, he took 4 trips on an Epstein plane in 2002 and 2003. But Clinton hadn't spoke to Epstein in over a decade. Also called to testify, former attorneys general and FBI directors dating back to the Bush administration who oversaw federal investigations of Epstein. And the panel subpoenaed the Justice Department for records on him.
We want to get the files themselves and ensure that we get that information out and make it transparent to the public.
As the Justice Department seeks the release of grand jury testimony in the Maxwell and Epstein cases in New York, Maxwell's attorney said Tuesday his client opposes its release, arguing her appeal is still pending before the U.S. Supreme Court.
Lots to chew over there, Ed. And as you know, Gail will be talking with Epstein accuser Virginia Giuffre's brother and sister-in-law here in studio about all of this in our next hour.
Trump's lawyers accidentally sent over plaintiff counsel the Epstein files unredacted. That's how they're going to mess it up. Yeah, I don't know how the legal system works, but I could totally see them doing something like that. They just like accidentally leak it. They just, dude, it could be anything. Actually, the sky's the limit. You could have a guy like Pete Hegseth, for example, working on handling these files and then accidentally loops in like a New York Times journalist or something. You know what I mean? You could have the lawyers be in a Signal group chat with like an actual journalist who will cover the story. You know what I mean? Who knows? Who knows? Everything. The opportunities are endless. Anything can happen. These guys are so bad because their role in this administration is not to be the most competent. As a matter of fact, incompetence in this situation is a benefit to Trump. Okay? Their responsibility is to be loyal to Trump. So if the only thing you care about is loyalty to Trump, you're going to have a bunch of dumbasses in positions of power, and those dumbasses are going to f things up. Trump won, at the very least, still had, and this was seen as a mistake by Trump, obviously, but Trump won had like people who were competent and sometimes disloyal to Trump, because that's the delicate balance here. If you want someone who is actually good at their job, when you have a guy who's trying to break everything, you're going to speak out. You're going to leak information to the media. You're going to actively oppose Donald Trump. I mean, look at Jerome Powell. It's one of the few areas where you can't the bag up. So Jerome Powell is still operating as a totally independent person, right? Not independent in the sense of like, I mean, he's obviously predisposed to the interests of capital, but like he is still playing the role he is supposed to be playing under any other administration, right? Trump hates that. He does not like that at all, okay? When you hire for loyalty, you are going to get a bunch of incompetent people because you're not going to have a competent person who also will be loyal to you when you are breaking things. It's that simple. So in a way, Trump saw it as a mistake to have anyone that was like, a competent figure in the previous administration, because those guys were the ones who f***ed him over in the long run. Those guys were the ones who spoke out against him. Those guys were the ones who were leaking stuff to the media. Those guys were the ones who were actually standing in opposition whenever Donald Trump wanted to molest the money, for example, right? Or molest any number of different things in the White House. And that was a big problem. So now he's like, no, I've realized we just need to have people who also are with it. They love molestation. Yeah, Bill Barr was a Republican fixer for decades. Now he's got Pam Bondi.
But Ed, I want to turn to another topic. There was an extraordinary escalation in the Texas showdown over redistricting. We understand now the FBI may be getting involved at the direction of the president.
Yeah, the president's now weighed in. He was asked about this, and he says the FBI may have to get involved to send back the Texas...
I still don't understand. Why would they take Trump with them to the island if they knew he does not like to be around pedophiles and was against pedophilia in general? Kind of unfair to him. Yeah, he's just small bean. He was a white hat, small bean, anti-pedophilia advocate. It's really... Trump is the real victim here. Yeah, they forced him to do it, potentially, allegedly. Who knows? Except we now know that wasn't the case. I mean, Ghislaine said... in the 7 million different photos you've seen of me and Trump, I only saw him do good things and no bad things at all. Not even a little bit.
Democrats who left the state. They're hunkering down, remember, in suburban Chicago, trying to stop Republicans from advancing a new congressional map that could give the GOP a chance to win 5 more seats in Congress. Texas Republican Senator John Cornyn wrote to the FBI director Tuesday urging his agency to intervene. And last night, Texas Republican Governor Greg Abbott filed a lawsuit at the state Supreme Court to remove one of the House...
Yeah, I'll have you know, he was shaking his head the entire time as other pedophiles were abusing little girls. He was going, like this. It's like getting caught in public reading Mein Kampf. You're like, you're reading it, but you're going like, and sometimes even waving your finger like this. That's what Trump was doing. He was like, don't do it.
Democratic leaders arguing his...
Anyway, Bill and Hillary Clinton, also known as Billary, my fave. You might call me parasocial and say Billary is not real. Billary can't hurt you. I think it's my favorite ship. Okay, Billary is my favorite ship. They were subpoenaed in the widening Epstein probe.
It's a case that continues to cut through party lines, dragging in presidents past and present. We've long known former US President Bill Clinton is one of the names that crops up alongside the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. But now he's been ordered, along with his wife, former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, to testify about the crimes Epstein committed. The Clintons were issued subpoenas along with 8 other government officials to appear before a congressional committee investigating Epstein.
Mr. Chairman, on this vote, the ayes are 8, the nays are 2.
The panel has also subpoenaed the Justice Department itself for records related to Epstein.
You're making a very big thing over something that's not a big thing.
It comes as pressure is mounting for Trump, both politically and publicly, for the grand jury transcripts of both Epstein and longtime companion Ghislaine Maxwell's cases to be released. Maxwell, who was convicted of child sex trafficking, opposes the release of the files. Her lawyers said Jeffrey Epstein is dead, Ghislaine Maxwell is not, arguing that because she's still alive, it was a breach of her legal rights, and that public interest in Epstein didn't justify breaching grand jury secrecy. The sex offender was recently moved from a Florida prison to here, a lower security one in Texas, to continue serving her 20-year sentence. A move Trump said he was unaware of.
2 questions for you. One, were you aware of and did you personally approve the prison transfer for Ghislaine Maxwell that your Justice Department?
I didn't know about it at all. No, I read about it just like you.
My favorite thing that Trump does is whenever he just like definitely knows about a thing or has definitely directly ordered a thing, he still tries to play this song and dance where he's like, oh, the DOJ is impartial, right? It's an impartial institution. I have no control over it, even though it's my lawyers that are running it right now. He'll be like, I didn't know about it, but it's very good that it happened. Same with like the Adam thing. Okay. They asked him this question like, oh, the Department of Justice, like, or there's a, they're launching investigations into Adam Schiff. And he's like, oh, I didn't know about it, but it's very good that it's happening. Finally, justice is being served. I didn't know about it. I didn't demand it happen. Yeah. He f***ed up because he admitted to tampering with a witness here. I mean, did he actually f*** up? Because like we have to, at a certain point, we have to measure the by like the actual impact, right? Trump could just be like, I'm innocent. I told Ghislaine Maxwell to literally say I'm innocent. What comes of that? What are the repercussions for Donald Trump coming out and basically being like, I told Ghislaine Maxwell to say I'm innocent in exchange for lenient sentencing, which is in my power. If he just came out and said that, what do you think would happen? Do you in your heart genuinely believe that any sort of significant repercussions would come of that? Honestly, the only way that there would be movement in a positive direction on this issue is if like people got so mad that he like openly admitted this, that there were riots on the streets and his base was participating in the riots. Okay. Only then could there be some kind of change that comes out of this, but it would not be because the Democrats have pushed for like an impeachment or some shit like that. Thank you. No, it's fine. I did. I opened. I turned it on. We, as I've said it before, like we only have one another at this stage. I think the institutions can like, you have no trust in liberal institutions. I mean, I want to trust them, but how can you? I feel like at a certain point, you have to be delusional to assume that like these liberal institutions are actually going to do their jobs. He has overcome all of these liberal institutions. He just keeps bouldering his way through the process. And it's not even like sophisticated or clever. The way he does it is just like so haphazard and so stupid. It's kind of like everything Donald Trump does is basically exactly the way he has operated through this like Jeffrey Epstein thing, right? Just straight up being incredibly suspicious every step of the way. I mean, he came in and pardoned all the January 6th He came in and pardoned every January 6th criminal, okay? Every single one. And then his administration, his lawyers in his administration actively argued that some of the January 6th defendants, like at least one, right, that was criminally charged, was found to be guilty of child pornography, CSAM. I don't like using CP as a term, CSAM, child sexual abuse material. And they were arguing that because that information came out in the J6 trials, that he should still be released. Like, that's psychotic. That's insane. This is perhaps the most pro-pedophilia administration that we've had ever.
You did.
And do you believe that she is
It's not a very uncommon thing.
The case continues to haunt Trump despite his best efforts to bat it away, dividing even his own party. 3 Republicans already broke away to back the legal order on the Justice Department, and a new national poll has found lines like these.
It's not just you, my lifelong lib teacher mom talks about how we can't rely on the Democrats anymore. No, 100%. Like, I think the situation has gotten like so out of control, and the transparent graft is so undeniable, and the Democrat Party's complacency is so frustrating that liberal wine moms are talking like me. Like, it's just at that point we're completely off the rails. This is what I was trying to talk about the other day when I did that. When I did that fundraiser, right, where I was talking about how, like, when I did that fundraiser, I was talking about, like, people are constantly on Twitter and on TikTok more so than Twitter saying, somebody's got to do it. Like, that is a sentiment that has not existed in liberal collective consciousness before to this degree ever. That is an indication. That is an indication that the situation has gotten so bad that previously liberals who would otherwise say, you got to respect the institutions, like, come on now. I mean, this is the president after all. He's the one who's, steering this ship, and we have to respect it. Like, they are saying, nah, fuck that. Somebody's got to do it. That is a call for desperation. Okay? That is a call born out of desperation. In some ways, you don't have a Watergate style moment anymore because every day is 10 Watergates in general. Watergate only works if there is some kind of confidence in these institutions and, like, an interest by members of both parties in, like, holding on to institutional legitimacy. Donald Trump's entire purpose has been to say, F the institutions, I do what I want. Corruption has always existed in American politics, but there's a reason why we have tried to legalize corruption in the form of lobbying. The very reason why you try to legalize it and make it, make it by the books is so that people don't realize how corrupt the situation actually is, how corrupt our institutions actually are. Okay? When you let go of the aesthetic, when you let go of the aesthetics of, like, no, this is the normal process, all of a sudden people are like, well, wait a minute, this is criminal. This is a criminal enterprise. What the hell's going on? And people get mad. Republicans have already let go of institutional norms a long time ago. They don't give a shit. They've never given a shit. Liberals were the last bastion of institutional defense. They were the ones who did organically and legitimately believe in the infallibility of our esteemed, protected institutions that will keep society ticking. And now liberals are also losing that as well. And once the liberals no longer believe in that, it's bedlam. That's where we're at.
On making deals, I'm not focused on conspiracy theories that you are
no longer convincing to many Americans, with trust crumbling fast. It found 7 out of 10 respondents felt the president is not handling the Epstein files well, while 63% believe his administration is hiding information related to the case. And the backlash has seen a 6-point drop in his approval rating since April to 38%. Epstein never made it to trial. Authorities say he died by suicide in his jail cell in 2010. Maxwell's trial in 2020 included testimony from multiple accusers covering her role in...
I love the months we spent memeing about Trump and shitting on Kamala and now hate what Trump is doing. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Look. Like, you are yelling. You are becoming a smaller and smaller sliver of society. You, chatter. There are not, like, the wine moms, the liberal wine moms have passed you. Do you understand? Like, the idea that this was somehow the left's responsibility, like somehow the left contributed to this electoral defeat, is certainly still a sentiment that many people hold on to, as they have time and time again with Bernie Sanders, like the Bernie Bros dynamic, and then continue to do so. This like resentment that is built in. But at a certain point, you have to make that leap. At a certain point, you have to recognize the reality. At a certain point, you have to understand that, like, no, actually, the left was pushing the Democrats to fight, myself included in this. Maybe the left was right. Maybe Kamala Harris and the Democratic Party should have taken a more active stance against Donald Trump instead of capitulating to right-wing framing on all these issues and losing their coalition and losing a bunch of voters because of their overall refusal to acknowledge some of the pain that people were experiencing, some of the economic pain that people were experiencing, but also on top of that, like some of the atrocities that were unfolding, like in Gaza, right? But there are still so many people who go, nah, she wasn't moderate enough. But I guess people are, like I said, more and more people are coming to that recognition that it wasn't actually about not being moderate enough or not being right-wing enough. And that was just a made-up argument. Because look at the Democrats now. They're not fighting. The top Democrats are woefully incompetent at dealing with the madness of this administration. People want things to change. That's why people voted for Trump, because they wanted change. Because Trump was able to communicate that he will actually change American society. And he is, just not in the direction that people would want American society to go towards. You understand?
Epstein's trafficking operation.
As far as I'm concerned, that is the time she needs to do to be held accountable.
The Justice Department argues releasing the Epstein files won't reveal anything new or noteworthy, as much was heard publicly at her trial. But it's clear many lawmakers...
Libs think that if you criticize their politicians, it makes them lose when they actually lose because they don't listen to the criticism. Yeah, if they also had something worth fighting for, more and more people would say, all right, shut the fuck up. I'm going to avoid criticizing this thing or that thing that they've done. That's the problem. They have no policies that people can grab onto and advocate for. They have no dream of a better tomorrow. They have no design for a well-functioning society that actually does right by every single American. So they don't communicate that at all. All they have is, well, we're not Republicans. Okay, you're just the lighter version of Republicans. Great. I don't want that. Nobody wants that. We don't want Republicans. Republicans. What the hell? Maybe we collectively agreed to back Cory Booker for 2028. Let's not be racist. Exactly.
Both Republican and Democrat, along with the American public, believe they have many questions that remain unanswered.
We have some new CNN reporting breaking overnight on the controversy that simply will not go away for President Trump, and that's the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. Sources telling CNN top administration officials will gather tonight at Vice President J.D. Vance's official residence for a strategy session. And the goal, we're told, is to form a unified response to the Epstein situation. Now expected to attend the dinner with the Vice President, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. Now you'll remember Blanche held a lengthy interview last month with Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted to conspiring with Epstein to sexually abuse minors. We now know there are audio recordings and a transcript of that interview, and the Justice Department is weighing whether to release those materials. Let's bring in CNN's Elena Treen at the White House this morning. Elena, this is your reporting. What more are you learning about tonight's strategy session?
Yeah, I mean, this is really interesting, that the fact that the vice president is going to be hosting these top Trump administration officials, really the ones who have been the leaders in kind of handling the administration's, entire handling of this Epstein case, that they'll be meeting tonight at the vice president's residence. I'm just going to walk through who's going to be there again. So White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, of course, the vice president, who is the one hosting this dinner, Attorney General Pam Bondi, FBI Director Kash Patel, and Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. And as you mentioned, Jessica, it's not just about strategizing over, what is going to come, the administration's posture on all of this, but also trying to present a united front, because we have seen some divisions within the Trump administration and between.
There are literal polls that show at least 80 to 90% of all Republicans love what Trump is doing with immigrants. No, I know, but it doesn't matter. You want to know why it doesn't matter? Because in the grand scheme of things, in the broader population, 80 to 90% of Republicans sounds like a lot of people, but it's not. It's the minority. It's a very loud minority of people. And yeah, there are awful people in this country, okay? There's not much you can do about that. The best you can hope for is to be able to convince them that this is ridiculous and it's not actually the problem, right? It's simply just like a problem that they've dangled in front of their faces that they are predisposed into believing, okay? But that's like 30% of the country, which is, again, significant. Make no mistake. But you can't, that's 30% of the country. That means 70% of the country is not on board with this shit, okay? That's why you look at the broader polls. You look at the actual, you look at the other polls that show independents are not on board. Democrats are not on board, okay? That's number one. Number two, on the issue of immigration, I've said this before a million times over for like the past decade plus at this point, okay? On immigration, if you don't actually present an alternative, and the only dominating part of discourse on immigration is that they're violent criminals and they need to be viciously deported from this country, from U.S. soil, okay, then obviously that's what is going to stick. But those polls always have shown consistently that mass amnesty is more popular than mass deportation. Always. There's never been a point in American history where mass deportation was more popular than mass amnesty. How does that work? And if that's the reality, why is no Democrat saying that that is the reality? Why is there no counter messaging on this issue? For every media slot where some Republican monster is talking about how, Guatemalans are rapists or whatever, there should be a million different moments. There should be a million different media hits about Democrats being like, no, Guatemalans are not rapist monsters. They're your neighbors, okay?